Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check today's video out. And guys, a lot of people think that jerkbait season is pretty much for the, winter time and the pre-spawn. It's like, so they think about jerkbaits being like December to April, that type of a lure, December to March. But guys, some of the best days I've ever had on a jerkbait ever have come in late May and early June. And I want to talk about today how to catch them during this time of year, because it requires a different technique, a different approach, and a different jerkbait. So we're going to go over that in today's video. I think it's going to open up a whole new world of jerkbait fishing to you guys. Also, guys, before we get started, just a couple quick things I wanted to remind you of. We got our summer Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns up on the site now. These are maps I build for Fish the Moment, guys. They've taken me for like 5 years to build these maps for lakes all over the country. Give you 40 GPS waypoints you can download straight to your fish finder with tips and advice on how to fish each spot. So it's a really good resource to learn more about a lake you want to learn more about. I'll put the link in the description there. And also, guys, please hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. We're trying to get to that 20,000 subscriber mark. We're almost there. Much appreciated for that. Okay, now I like to do the backstories a little bit of how I got on this. This technique that I've modified myself. I didn't invent this technique, but I did modify it to the way I'm going to talk about today. There was a big tournament down at Table Rock Lake back in 1983, and the angler that won that tournament was named Jimmy Crisp, and he caught him on a big saltwater Rapala, like a 7-inch Rapala that they use for stripers. And he blew the tournament away. He caught like 25 pounds, which was a massive bag of fish back that long ago. And so I used that Rapala forever until they came out with this Megabass Kanata, which is the same size, but it's a lot more refined, high-tech jerkbait. And guys, I started modifying the technique that I learned by fishing that big Rapala with this big Kanata. And I've sort of identified and isolated the exact set of situations that it works in the best, which is what I want to talk about today and how to fish it here. So here's when you want to fish this thing, this big Kanata. And also, guys, I'll link this in my Tackle Warehouse link. This is the Megabass Kanata. This is my favorite color, guys. This is the Megabass HT Tennessee Shad pattern. And you see how much I fished it there and got chewed up. This is just my favorite. I mean, I use Pro Blue too, different ones, but I caught a ton on this one. If you just want to get one to try it from Tackle Warehouse, this is the one I'd suggest, this color here. So anyway, this is what you want to look for. Number one, this pattern starts to develop sort of in mid-May, and it lasts up until, towards the end of June. Post-spawn fish, where these bass start moving out to bluffs. So if the lake that you have does not have any bluffs on it, probably not going to be a video that's going to help you out much. But if you fish a lake that has bluffs, I don't care if they're on the main lake or if on the creek or whatever, this is going to be a deal. This is a bluff fishing post-spawn bait, aggressive technique. So what you want to do is, first of all, you got to set it up right. In order for this thing to work good, you got to have I use a medium heavy action 7'2" bait cast rod. I use that Megabass Perfect Pitch. This is a big bait, it's a heavy bait, and you need to have a fairly stiff tip in order to get this thing to really react and really, dart around hard. And I couple it up usually with 12-pound test or maybe 15-pound test Seaguard Vizex fluorocarbon line, depending on how clear the water is. So you got your bluff banks, number one. Your bluff bank needs to have some type of a proximity to deeper water. Some bluffs have shallow water off of them because the channel's not too close. But I prefer to have the bluffs where, say if my boat is 10 foot away from the bluff, the water depth is 10 to 15 feet. So it's a fairly sharp staircase slope to the bluff down into the channel. And on top of that, you do have to have some not clear, but you do have to have some clean water. So I want to have water visibility of at least 2.5 feet. Preferably the ideal visibility range, in my opinion, is sort of like 3 to 5 foot of visibility would be perfect. And if you gave me it's like, Randy, what is the perfect water visibility? I would say about 3.5 to 4 foot clarity would be perfect for this pattern to work. Okay, so once you got your Kanata on there, sometimes, guys, I will put some suspend strips on it because this bait will float up a little bit, and sometimes just to get it down deeper and to not have to worry about it floating up, I'll put a suspend strip and make it weight neutral. You don't have to, but sometimes I do. But what you want to do is you want to parallel the bluffs with this. And based upon the slope of your bluff, you want to try to target that 5 to 15 foot zone. So if you've got 3.5 or 4 foot of visibility, those fish a lot of times are going to be over that, sort of over that 8 to 12 to 15 foot zone. So I'm going to position my boat accordingly. I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to show you guys. I got to go over here and get a rod. I'm going to show you how to create the action on this thing. But you want to get your boat out there parallel to the bank. It's not 45-degree angle, not casting into the bank, but it's exactly 45 degree. I mean, exactly parallel. And then when you throw the thing, make a long cast with it like that. And once it hits the water, jerk it down pretty hard. And then when you jerk it sideways like that. So I'll jerk it down, I'll try to get it down into the depth zone that I feel the fish are at. And say I jerk it down for 5 or 6 times, and I think the bait's down there in 5 or 6 or 10 foot of water. Once I get it down to where I think it's close to being in that zone, I'll sweep that rod sideways. So go boom, 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 pause, boom, 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 pause, boom, 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 pause. Sometimes you can even take it and you can use 2 hands. You go boom, 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 pause, and take up the slack, boom, 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 take up the slack. But the key is you have got to pop that thing. You've got to pop it sideways. And when you do that, that thing's going to dart like that everywhere. And then you stop it for a second, darts everywhere like that. Now those post-spawn fish, they're more aggressive. They're done spawning, they're hungry, they're ready to eat. Water temperatures are probably going to be, in the anywhere between upper 60s to mid 70s for most part of the country. And you're going to trigger these fish with a reaction bite. Now, one of the keys that you have to remember when you're fishing a really big jerkbait, you can't let them look at it, because this isn't like a Megabass Vision 110 that's a more diminutive size. This is a big bait that's got a big side on it. So if you let this bait pause, or if you're working it slow, those fish can study this and they can see it too good, and they're going to look at it, it's going to get their attention, and they won't bite it. But when you jerk that thing hard like that, the internal balancers, the loud aggressive sound, that hard jerk like that, they're going to swim up to it, and when you stop it for a second and you jerk it hard like that, they're going to come up and grab it just out of the instinct. So it's a lot of work. I'll be honest with you guys, this is the thing that's difficult to do for all day, because it will wear you out. Now, there's some people that can figure out how to get the action out of it and catch some fish without that aggressive side to side. You can still do it the traditional down, but it takes a little bit more effort. But the main thing, got to get that thing darting super hard. And one of the things about this that'll really surprise you is that you think that a bait like this, you're not going to get many bites on it. It's just for big ones. Guys, I catch tons of 1.5 pound fish on it. I can take this thing down to Table Rock Lake and catch 1.5 pound Kentuckies all day on it. Smaller fish love this size of bait. A 1.5 pound Kentucky or smallmouth doesn't think anything about hitting this thing, as well as those bigger largemouth. So anyway, guys, give it a try. We're in that window right now. If you've never tried this, again, I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you want to pick one up there. And like I said, if you get in those conditions that I've described, if you have a lake that's got some bluffs on it with some clean water, especially if you have a mixed species lake that has some spotted bass and largemouth and smallmouth, guys, this thing will get you some good bites on it. So anyway, hope it helps you guys catch some. We'll talk later.